Welcome to the Inside Carolina Player Preview Series. I'm your host, Ross Martin, joined by Adam Smith. Adam, Caleb Love coming off a great season for UNC, 18.8 points in the NCAA Tournament, led UNC in free throw percentage and averaged 15.9 points for the year. Some big shots.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Big Shot.
In the tournament against Duke, obviously, and a big-time three-point shooter. Heading into a junior season, a big season for him. Where do you want to see him kind of grow his game and advance? Because, I mean, he can get better, but he was pretty darn good last year.
Yeah, and you pose a great question. You're asking me where I want to see him get better. I'm probably different than some people. I know the thing with Caleb is talking about his efficiency. And, yes, he can be more efficient in terms of his shooting percentages and maybe some of his shot selection. But for me personally, I love his fearlessness. I love that he wants that big moment, that he wants that shot. I mean, think about the shots he was hitting against Syracuse at the end of the regular season when Carolina had to win games just to get NCAA Tournament ready, you know. Not to mention the shot that's immortalized over Mark Williams straight on in the Final Four. I mean, my good, people probably have that framed, I would think. Yeah. But for me, I just think Love's fearlessness, I think they have so many different pieces, Carolina, that add so many different things in terms of the way they play and their personalities. And I just think he is one of their driving engines along with Armando Bacot and RJ Davis and Leaky Black. And, it'd be interesting to know what kind of feedback he got from the NBA draft process, because he's done that a couple years now. And I think he might have been close to leaving. You know, he was a fringe first-round draft pick. But yeah, it can be a cleaner game for Caleb, but I mean, he needs to bring that verve.
Definitely a high volume shooter. And the big thing about him is, they moved RJ Davis on the ball and moved him off the ball, allowed him to become more of a shooting guard. And that's kind of when he flourished and when RJ Davis flourished as well. And the fact that they're both juniors now, having started, pretty much both started for heading into their third season starters, is huge for him. Him as a leader, as a facilitator, as a rebounder. What do you see from him in terms of his growth outside of what he does as a scorer on offense?
I think it's almost difficult to talk about Caleb without mentioning RJ Davis, because I think there's such a tandem in the backcourt. And, if you're UNC, the luxury of having old guards, these guys are juniors, and as you said, they've played a ton. And you think about how much turnover there is in the college game, especially with guards. Maybe not necessarily with big men, but I think Caleb Love is, in some ways, while Armando Bacot is sort of the face of your program, the face of your franchise, and the voice of leadership, Caleb Love kind of is your lead dog too, because he wants to be.
He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, he can take over a game. I mean, as you mentioned, the second half against UCLA, Carolina does not go to the Final Four without him making shot after shot after shot.
Yeah, I would even want to see him take over games more and just be that guy that when he is on, and UNC's not losing that game. He's done that in a couple big games. You want to see that consistency as an offensive playmaker throughout the whole season. I think another thing for him, I mentioned at the top, is his free throw shooting is such a weapon. Yes. I mean, when UNC had leads late and he had the ball, they didn't lose because he didn't miss from the free throw line. Not much to add on that, but
no, absolutely. And in the Final Four, when Armando got hurt and was on the bench, and Carolina was able to get that lead. He, at the end of games, he will cover up and say, "Foul me," and he'll go to the foul line and make two shots. He does not in any way shrink from that moment. He wants to be on the foul line. He's confident in making it. Really great quote, too, Ross, for what we do. I mean, it's enjoyable talking to Caleb Love and the rest of these guys.
Bacot being the face, kind of like the, student athlete, hacking the guy. Caleb Love's kind of like this superstar, almost bad boy that I think, kind of brings that fearlessness like you mentioned. And he is poised for another big season, a big kind of contract year for him, because I think he does have kind of NBA. I think he could be kind of an NBA player with how he shoots the ball from deep and his athleticism. So it's a big year for Caleb. And like you said, I mean, huge to have UNC to have two junior, almost 3-year starters back in the backcourt. And Seth Trimble, which will give him and RJ Davis a little bit of break. So a little bit of depth there at the guard spot. For Inside Carolina, I'm Ross Martin and Adam Smith.